Test, 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 test. All right, hold on a second. Gotta figure this out. Should have done this before I got live. But it's all good. We're still waiting for folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, that's good water. Good water. God is good. It's just, man, what a good day, man. I'm in a good mood. It would be a good day to have a big crowd now that I'm I feel super happy. But either way. What's going on, Karen? Hey, Clash. Good morning. Yes. What's up, Gaining Wisdom? It is a good day. Man, I'm so happy today. I don't know, I'm just grateful, you think about things, right? I was talking to I was talking to Cindy the other day or yesterday about time, like we're in time, right? And we think we're traveling forward, right? And the past is behind us, right? But we can only exist in this one spot that we're in. Like, we've always been here the whole time. Like, we haven't left anywhere or gone forward, or nothing is behind us. Everything has happened in this spot right here. And so it's a trip when you think about it. It's like mind blowing, you know what I mean? Hey, Cindy, I was telling them about the time. And it's crazy that all we have is this moment. And I know that we hear that with meditation, and we hear that with grounding, emotional grounding, other forms of um, mental health and emotional health, right? But it's just weird that there's no time. Only is only it only applies to us, really. And it really, compared to God, right? What did he say? One day is 1,000 years, right? So it's like, think about how fast he reconciled us back from being a lost world to being completely saved. What's going on, Faith? Good morning. How you doing, Cindy? I don't know if I said hi to you. Yeah, I did. And so, like, am I giving you a panic attack? Well, I mean, some things, I mean, they just blow your mind, when you think about them, you're just like, I never thought of that before, or I have thought about it before, but not in that way, maybe. And there's so many things like that, right? Like, if I tell you, like, that the water is wet, right? Well, I mean, that's a statement of fact, right? That's just the way it is. I didn't make the rules. It's just the water is wet. That's There's nothing I could do about it. I'm only informing you to be of help to you. And so, like, when you get to a point in your life, right, where I mean, it almost, after a while, becomes obvious that that Jesus Christ is the Lord, and he's our savior. And we live in basically a devil world, right? It's named after all the devil stuff, right? And it's like, it's obvious, right? But it's like, so if I tell somebody, right, even people that I care about, right, that I like their personality, I like them as people, right, I have nothing against them, right? They could really believe whatever they want. It doesn't bother me. But if I say, hey, look, Jesus is the only way out, right? I'm just telling you the way it is. I'm just trying to help you. You know what I mean? I don't have to say anything at all, to be honest. And it would really be better for me in the moment, where we all have to be right now, right? But I know that, one day, right, I'm going to have to face God, right? And I'm going to have to stand in front of him, and what am I going to say to God, right? Oh, I was gonna tell all these people about you, but it was too hard, man. Like I just I didn't want to make any waves, you know. I didn't want to judge people by telling them the truth, you know. And it's hard, right? It's a hard spot to be in, you know. What are we gonna do? Hey Michelle, I'm glad you're here. That's awesome. And Sheila's here, and Ray's here, Sasquatch is here. All right, I'll make sure I didn't forget anybody. If I did forget you, it means I doubly like you, like more than everybody else. All right, just in case. Um, yeah, and so like, what am I gonna tell God, right? I mean, we're in like the this is it, man. The clock is running out, right? Like, I mean, I tried to kind of be in. Look, I was never in denial about where we were at, but part of me, even though I knew just how bad it's getting and just how exponentially bad it will get, right? Part of me was uh, still thinking I was going to be able to chill on my couch, right, for the rest of this whole world, right? And that's eventually, right? It's going to get bad locally, you know what I mean? And eventually, it's going to be there's going to be decisions and choices to make, you know. And so, good morning, Michigander. How you doing, buddy? So, hey, you got a lot going on out there. Like, you doing a lot of stuff right now, or are you just chilling? Spraying, what's it? Spraying a grid above all morning. What does that mean? Spraying a grid above all morning. Oh yeah, yeah. How they're doing that? Yeah, they're doing the what do you call it? Yeah, that stuff up in the sky, the trails, right? I mean, it is a shame, man. Like and I almost like I'm angry at myself too because like I've noticed this stuff, right? Like since 1999, I remember the first time I saw a chemtrail, right? Because I was like, oh man, that's really staying in the sky a long time, you know? That's different than there's something up with that, you know? I thought there was something wrong with the airplane or something. But it wasn't weird enough for me to think about it over and over again, you know? It was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's the way it is now, you know? Like I never I don't know, I just kind of assimilated to it, you know? These things happen slowly and you just get used to them, right? And you know, next thing you know, there's a snake on everything and there's occultic numbers everywhere. Everyone in charge of you is some kind of invert or lives some kind of inverted evil life, right? And you're like, well, I mean, I would probably get along with. I mean, I don't even know how to even say it anymore. Like, like I didn't write the rules, right? Like, I'm not trying to say that what I think is good and what I think is bad. I'm just saying that God made the world, right? And this is the way it is, and I'm gonna roll with that. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm doing, and that's what I want to help people to do. And I mean, there's gonna be people that are gonna disagree with that or not want to do that, right? Well, fair enough. They could not do it, but I don't see how how I'm not being unfair by saying if a person comes here and wants to just be contrary, I mean, hey man, this is a channel for Christian people, right? To talk to each other, feel safe, right? And not have to. This is a non-debatable thing, right? I mean, it would be different if this was like debatable, Then we could maybe share our ideas and go back and forth, spend some time doing that. That would be a worthwhile worthwhile effort, and a way to spend our time. But it's almost like flat Earth. It's like, okay, well, that's not debatable. It's just not a ball. Nothing you could. There's no new thing you could show me that would change my mind. And that's how I feel about God. And so, yeah, we can spend all our lives debating. There's a wave in front of a boat, and debate whether or not that's Earth curve or not, right? But if everything in this country is named after the Antichrist or has some kind of evil occultic dimensions in its size and shape, or it's shaped like a pentagram, or the moon missions are named after the Antichrist. There's no Jesus mission to the moon, right? Like, this is why I think it should be obvious to people. Like, why would the evil top 1%, right? Uh, LARP the Bible, right? Like, just word for word, they're LARPing it, making it come true, right? And then not push the Bible to us, right? Like, if they were trying to trick us, they would push it, you know. So that logic goes out the window to me. Like, it just seems so obvious to me, and I think it's time to just, like, I mean, we're running out of time for games, man. Like, this isn't a game. I mean, the truth is that life does matter. There are rules, and I don't even think it's even very hard. I mean, yeah, if you had this idea that you were going to somehow be in charge of your own destiny, you were going to earn your way somewhere, or you were going to be special somehow, or above and better than the rest of the group. And yeah, I guess it would be hard to accept that you're not better than anyone, or, not worse than anyone. And I could see how if somebody was like, lived a life where they were depressed, right? Which, I mean, a lot of us have struggled with that, right? If somebody's been depressed a long time, right, to feel like they're worthy and equal, right, as everyone else, right? And the thing is we're never gonna feel worthy of heaven, because we're not. But it's good to know that there's no person on earth that's better than you. And there's no person that's worse either, meaning that, yeah, I don't like evil things and I'm against them, right? I'm against behaviors that are considered evil, or against the rules, or against what God made us for, right? But I'm not better than that person that's doing it. And so it's a fine line, right, between accepting God's rules, right, and being somehow where you're excluding somebody, right? Because we've all sinned in a different kind of way, right? And um, you know, it's an uphill climb for everybody. This is the way I look at it. And so, anyway, does anybody want to join me today? Because I could go for that. I mean, I normally don't go stream to stream on YouTube, but last night I went over to Urban's and hung out for a minute just to see what's going on over there. And he's been on 2 times in a row, and he's very good at what he does. You know, and so I'll give him that. It's not really my type of content, but he's had some good interviews on there. And there's definitely an audience for what he does. He's talented. Well, hey, Cindy, everywhere you go, right? Um, everywhere you go, there's an opportunity to invite somebody back. Oh, you wanna come up, Faith? That's cool. Oh, okay, cool. Then I'll drop the link then. But yeah, it's like everywhere you go is an opportunity to bring someone back here. And I'll say this, right? Like, I'm not ashamed to say this. Arwen is my friend, right? I mean, over the course of the years or whatever, these last 3 years, 4 years, right? He's my friend. He's not lined up with my spiritual beliefs, right? So it's getting to that point where um you know, that part I have to let go, that he's going to like, make it over the hump, right? But even though he's not a Christian, right? Um out of his chat, there's been a lot of people that come out of there that are here, and I would say that it's one of the best chats that I've been to, right? Because of how he runs it, right? Where if it's a truther that's not a Christian, it's somebody that's open, right? And or you just pull Christians straight out of there that are just, they seem really nice, And so Hannah came out of there, and Here We Go Again came out of there. I came out of there, and AGM was in there. There's a lot of people, Dutch Sailor, Clutch, right? And so there's a lot of good people that, so no matter where you go, right? It could even be a wizard, right? Running the thing, and you could end up because this is where we have to go out and get people, is out in the world, sometimes you have to get out in the trenches, and and I'm not gonna be ashamed to say that, hey, look, I was I was close to this guy. We were closer last year for the 3 years before that, and we're not so close anymore. But it's like, yeah, it's about time where, like, like believers need to stick together, because it's gonna get bad for us. Because even people that I care about like that, right, that I have been close with, right, and are starting to hate me just for saying the truth, and it's hard, it's hard. And so let me welcome Faith to the show. Hey, Faith, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh man, I feel always great. Like, I mean, there's things I have to overcome, right? I got challenges, but I feel pretty darn great, considering.
Yeah, I was into some stuff yesterday. It had me all day. Thanks, Joel. No, it was great actually. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I got up this morning and I was just like, man, they really have lied to us about everything. And so I just started playing some music and I'm in a goofy mood.
Yeah, right. Well, I was interested in all that stuff. I mean, I know it makes some people mad to talk about it too much, right? So I gotta be mindful of that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it didn't get me mad. It just got me like real I was deep. I was deep into it. I'll
well,
say that.
it explains some stuff, right?
Yeah.
I can't reconcile it yet with the Bible, but it explains like them castles and stuff, and
Yeah.
one other thing. Oh yeah, all the Roman stuff, right? Just destroyed, right? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
A war back in the day, they're trying to tell us there was no technology, right? And all
Those
this
those
stuff gets
links.
smashed to that level.
Right, yeah.
It's
Those links that he gave me, I was like, "Yo, what?" I was like sitting here washing my dishes, and I was like, "Wait, what?" I had to stop, like so many times to be like, "Wait, what? Say that over again."
right. So
Oh,
like,
man,
so
it's
listen to
crazy.
this, right? If okay, at the very least, right? Let's say that it's not true, right? That we're not at the tail end of the, let's say we're in the timeline we think we're in, right before the mark of the beast, like in that area, right? And so we're waiting for the two witnesses, right? But so even if that were true, right? Either way, right? But like, if we're in the regular timeline, right? Then there's still a whole lot they're not telling us about what happened to this Roman Empire that was basically ran the world, right? And was all
Yep.
smashed like that, like
Yeah.
nobody, because usually, okay, so if I have a war with your country, right, I'm gonna try to use the buildings that are there. Like, I'm not gonna
No, when I saw,
smash
because
everything.
I saw a video, and when I saw the melted cities, I was like, "Yeah, that.
It's a
How does
little
that?
weird, man.
Yeah, how
Yeah,
does that happen? That looks like an Armageddon to me."
yeah.
And the Bible
Fervent,
does say that there'll
fervent,
be a generation, that will be
a
living
little. Yeah.
during the
So
reign of Satan, So what if we are that generation? It just makes you
yeah.
think. So I
Well,
was thinking about all that, and then I was like, I got up this morning and I still had it on my mind. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play some music and dance.
well, I
But
put it
it is
like,
something to think about. It's deep. It's very
yeah,
deep.
I put it like it's something to be prepared for, right? But then when I was thinking
Yeah,
about it, right? Like even though I'm not sold on it, there's a few things I can't really reconcile that are really tough for me, like things about with the sun, the amount of olives hasn't split because that's where Jesus is supposed to land and it's supposed to split. Like there's a lot of things, like that, but like it is intriguing and possible because of how bad they lie to us, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
they could reorientate everything. I mean, like, here's the thing, right? I know that the earth is flat in geometric orientation, meaning that there's one way up and there's one way down. I know that, right? Just because of proof, right? But
right.
this is what I don't know for sure, right? I don't know if China is really there. I mean, I believe it. I believe it to a high degree, but I've never been there. I've never been on a plane, right, to judge how far it is, right? I mean, I believe it's there because many people have said that it's there, right? And so, like, I have all these different, like, staggering, like, levels of belief of stuff, right? But what do we really know, right? What do we know? That's what's crazy.
Yeah. What? Yeah. It's just, yeah. It had me in deep yesterday. Let's just say that I was like,
Right.
yeah. I was sitting in my car driving and just listening to what was her name, Joel? April. I think her name was April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hacking the headlines.
Yes, yes. And I
Yeah.
was like, man, this go, how far does this go? It's such a it's such a lie. And
Yeah.
yeah, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, they have literally lied to us about everything. Do you really think they're not lying to us of whether Jesus Christ already returned or not?
I agree, Paula. I
And
agree.
I've always been in the mindset of, if there's a rapture, cool. If not, cool. I'll still be here. I'll fight. I'll stand here and
See,
fight. I don't
and
care.
that's the first thing that caught me, right? As a truther, right? Is that I see it in there. When I read it, I see it in there, right? But
Mm.
I have talked to people that studied, longer and harder than me, right? That tell me that it's not in there, and
Cool,
I've
dude.
seen, right, and I've seen people with like 50-50, like, they're debating, and I've seen like
Yeah.
good evidence on both sides, right? It depending on how you
But they're
read
not
it,
bad people. They're not bad people, though.
No,
I'm one
yeah,
of them.
I
But
agree. I
yeah, I'm one
agree.
of them. Like, I was always on the side of, if the rapture happens, great. If it doesn't,
Right.
great. I'll still stand here. But
That's
now I'm
right.
like, wait, now in my head, Joel, you done messed me up. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean,
But he's right. He's right. I want the truth no matter what. No matter what it is, I want it. I want the
right.
truth.
That's right.
Like,
That's
I'm not.
right.
I don't call myself a truther. Don't get me sideways.
I would I would say this. I would say this. Like so in my mind, right? Like what I'm pretty sure of is that there is going to be a rapture. I'm pretty sure that the two witnesses and the man of sin is going to come. Then the mark of the beast. Like I'm pretty sure of that, right? Now, I've heard like good evidence on the non-rapture side for people, and I'm okay with that, right? But I like
Have
what
you
you
watched
said,
his
right? You
Have
made
you
you
watched?
made a good point, and what I would say is just be ready for anything, right? Be ready for the most um, difficult thing, right? That you could project, like no rapture, we're going through tribulation, right? Like, uh,
Yeah.
try to be ready for the most amount of stuff, you know.
Yeah,
And
see,
so if
that's always
and,
been where my heart is just be ready for both. Like, be ready if there's a rapture, but don't be deceived. And also, the other side of my heart is be ready to be guillotined. you know,
oh yeah,
the
that's
Christians are
yes.
being persecuted all over the world. It's just evident, you know.
Well, okay, so if you go to Revelation chapter 4, right? Like you're not going to see Christians past that, right? Until I think Revelation 20, I'm not sure.
I think it's
Maybe
20.
someone else knows. But like um
I was in
So this
Revelation
is
20 yesterday.
this is the way I looked
Uh,
at it is if there's not a rapture around Revelation 4, then we are getting our heads. We're gonna die, like because we don't exist. The mark of the beast thing is not gonna be because that would add to our salvation, right? Works plus faith, right? It's like we're not gonna have that option. I don't think we're getting close, right? It's either we're gonna be raptured or die. Like I can't see another way
right.
out of it. I mean,
I've
maybe there's
I've
another way
already
out of
put
it,
it, like,
you know?
yeah, I'm understanding what Joel and April were talking about, but I've already had it in my heart that I'm a dead person. I'm a dead person walking because I'm not giving up my faith in
That's
Jesus
right.
Christ. It's just not
That's
going to
right.
happen. I'm
I'm
not
ready
turning.
to die.
Yeah, so it's like I've already put it in my heart that I'm either
Well,
gonna die naturally or they're gonna chop my freaking head off. I
well,
don't
think
care.
about right and see. Like people think we're crazy for being like having some joy in that, but like I mean, I'm almost at the point, right? Even though I could probably live forever and be just, I'd be okay, right? But here's the thing, right? Like I would almost prefer if they would just get here today. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And just let's just get this thing rolling so I could be with God. Like that's where I really want to be. That's the better
right.
place. You know?
That's such a good question. Would Satan tell the generation that Jesus already returned when he gets loosed
Oh,
after the 1,000 years? And
okay.
that's the thing that I was pondering was like, yeah, he would do
This is
whatever
it.
he could to cover it up.
Right. This was
Whatever
my
he could to
fear.
cover it.
Well, this is my fear, right? My only fear with the being in the little season, because I would almost rather be in that little season and only have to worry about God coming back to baptize this place with fire because we get separated, right? That's the best way to go, right? But this is the fear, right? If you think you're on the other side of the millennium and you're not looking for a man of sin, right? Then you could fall for that. You know what I mean? That's like, I mean, it's very like it says a lot of times in the Bible, don't be deceived. You know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah.
it's like very important to, yes, have your mind open for just anything to be real, right? But also at the same time, you got to hold on to what like and test everything the way it says to in the Bible. Like if you're gonna go and look at these other things, right? Which, if you want to test everything, do it, right? But you have to have a nice, wise counsel to go to that you trust, right? And you
Yeah.
have to run everything through the Bible. That's our only truth, right? And so,
Yeah.
and pray about it, right?
Dude,
And
seriously, the Bible is the only truth. There is no truth in this world other than the Bible and Jesus Christ. Like, and
that's right.
it's being shown more and more. Like, it's just evident. It's so evident that there is
Yeah,
no truth other than the Bible and Jesus Christ. And people can say whatever they want about the Bible. Like, shut up. I don't care.
right.
It was written by man. Well, you
Well,
don't understand that it was spirit. It was through the Spirit, through the Holy Spirit, that it was written by man. Like they
well,
were led
listen
by
to
the
it.
Holy Spirit. They weren't just plain ass men. Like they were led by the Holy Spirit. And you know
Yeah,
what? The reason I know this, and you can say whatever you want about whatever version, but when I apply the Bible to my life, it comes to life.
yeah,
I can
yeah,
apply any part of the Bible directly to my life, and everything's true. It's right there. It's just like it happens.
yeah.
So
Well,
I'll
this
come
is
up
what,
against these people that are like, "Oh, it was written by man. It's not true." And I'm like, "No, you don't understand. Like when I get in the book of Acts and I read a scripture and then I go on with my day, part of that scripture applies to my day. That's
yeah.
crazy. No other book has done that."
Well, there's a lot of people, right, with a lot of money, right, that are very motivated to try to get us not to believe it for some reason, right?
Mhm.
There's a level of hate, you know, that people want to either prove it not true or they just don't want us to believe it, so that we don't get saved, right? And
Right?
it's sad that it's that way, right? But it's the most scrutinized book in the world. And I don't think that people would put that effort into it, right? If it was, if it wasn't true. No one's trying to
Yeah.
debunk Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's crazy,
Exactly.
man.
That's what I think too. Like, yo, if it wasn't the truth and real, why are you guys going so far out of, I mean, so far out of your way to debunk it? Why?
Yeah.
You're not debunking
Well,
anything else, really, other than God. Like, that's it. That's all they do is go around debunking Jesus Christ or
well,
mocking
think
him.
well, think about every conspiracy, right? Every conspiracy is like, if you put them all together, it's all to hide God. It's everything
Yes.
is meant to hide God, or to waste your
Yeah.
time somehow, or to split people up from each other. Because there's two
Including,
commandments, right? There's
yeah,
two commandments that
including the
Jesus
ball,
says for us to
including
do.
the ball earth bull crap. Like when I go outside, I'm standing still. I'm not freaking moving. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe there's a couple clouds moving ahead of, above me, but that doesn't mean I'm moving. That doesn't mean I'm on a. That doesn't mean the earth is moving. And it's like you go outside and you stand there and you're like, "Wait, this
Well,
doesn't make
after a while,
sense. I don't feel like I'm on a ball. None of it
after a
makes
while,
any
but
sense."
listen, but listen, but listen to what I'm saying, right? It's
That's my
a
husband.
while, after a while of snapping out of this brainwashing, right? It becomes obvious. It's obvious we're not moving. It's obviously air is not velcroed to the earth and pulling and pulling helicopters, right, exactly over the spot where they're flying, right? That's all obvious to us now, right? But there are
Yo, if
smart
you still
people
think
that,
the earth is a ball, go talk to a pilot. Just go talk to a pilot. They will tell you straight up it's flat. It's level.
yeah,
Because they don't have to. What is it? They don't have to dip their nose or something like that. They'll tell you. I'm not a pilot. I don't know, but they'll tell you. I've heard
well,
pilots talk about this. It's like it's totally flat. Like it's not.
yeah.
There's no curve. There's no freaking curve.
Well, could you imagine landing a plane on a runway that's moving 1,000 miles an hour left or something like that, like to the west or something? You would,
Right.
I mean, there's no way, right? And so they know, right,
And
that
just look at the
number one,
navigation. Look at the navigation of the airplanes. How they can't go straight. Like come on, what was it? I think it was from the U.S. to. Oh, sorry. My husband's texting me. I'm sorry.
it's all
Um,
right. You've
I
got a
think it
lot of
was
energy today.
From the U.S. to Europe. They had to go like wait, was it from Alaska to Europe? Something like that. They had to go in a circle or something instead of just going straight, which would have made sense on a ball
Okay,
Earth.
I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Here,
I don't
let me
remember the
round that
video.
out. Hold on. Let me round
Okay.
that out for so that people don't think we're just jumping from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So what
Okay.
she's talking about is that there was an airplane, right, that was coming from, like, I don't know, like the Pacific Islands, and it was going to like
Yeah.
San Francisco, and it had to stop in Alaska so
Yeah.
somebody could give birth, right? And so
Mhm.
on a ball that would be like flying north and then coming back. It would have been closer on a ball to fly just directly to the destination, but on a flat Earth it lines up in a line. And so things like that. That's what actually the two things that really got me sold on it, right? Is seeing the NASA people faking it, right? That blew my
Oh my
mind.
God. Yeah.
And the southern flights, you can't track them, right? That
Yeah.
did bother me. I was like, wow, like that is real.
Yep.
They disappear and then they reappear on over land, and
Yep.
that's one thing they can't fake if they
It's
really,
like, wait. Yeah, they can't fake it. You're right. They cannot fake it because it's a lie.
And another thing that got me is because they talk about the Coriolis force, right? That if
Yeah.
you fire a bullet, you have to factor that in. And all like
Yep.
I was in the army for 4.5 years, right? And I never one time factored in no spin of the earth, right? So I knew that wasn't true. And so,
Mhm.
oh yeah, snipers, they factor in Coriolis, right? I'm like, oh no, that's not true, man. It
That's
might
cool.
say it in the field manual, but I don't know anybody that's ever done that. And so
Yeah,
it's pretty
because it's
crazy.
baloney.
Yeah, it's not true. But
I think
here's the thing,
anyone that's
right?
ever shot a gun of any type, I think they know this,
Yeah,
you know, because they have to know this.
because even if like even if so, like I guess you could say, right, that one argument they could say, right, the furthest I fired a weapon to a target was like 500 yards, right, which isn't, it's not sniper length, right, but you would still have to factor in something, right, if a
Yeah,
round is coming, yeah, so it's like the wind is something you have to factor, and also which way the rifling and the barrel. If it's a right hand twist weapon, you have to factor that in, that it's coming out of the barrel, spinning,
right.
to
Yeah,
the right. And so like these are like things that you have to factor in, which would be minor things to think about, right? Because if you miss by a little bit, where you are, if you're off by like a centimeter, it's like feet down there at the end, like,
yeah,
so any minor mistake you're making at where you are is going to be a wide margin over there, and I
right.
never met any sniper that's ever told me that they have fired anything but center mass on a target, they didn't lead a target, or fire 2 feet in front of the guy or something, or anything like that. It's always center mass, and so that part I knew, from experience. I'm like, yeah, there's no way.
Right.
Like, and then, but when you snap out of it, right? When all these, because it's basically these smart people, they come up, right, and they, okay, smart, or they're smart enough, right, to give you a couple big words, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy knows these. Okay, yeah, I didn't factor in the flugel binder or whatever, like whatever word he said. Okay, yeah, okay, well, I guess, yeah, you're right. I didn't work that in there. So go ahead, nerd, and you take off, right? But like in reality, like this is what I thought, right? Is it smart people, right? I thought try to do things and make things to benefit the world, right? But in
Yeah.
reality, smart people use their intelligence as an advantage, to an edge over people, and
Mhm.
everybody that goes to work makes money. Nobody does what they do for free. So everybody's
Right.
corruptible at some level, and
That's,
so
yeah.
to think that there's all these honest astrophysicists, is
Anyone can be
ridiculous.
bought.
Of
Anyone can
course,
be
of
bought,
course.
including
Yeah.
me. Including me. I could be bought too. I don't want to be.
Well, that, I
I hope
mean,
I have the
up
intelligence
and
not to be. But
well, up until very recently, right? I would say the same thing. I mean, now with where my faith is in God, and now that it's like, I mean, it's not even faith anymore. I mean, a little bit, it's a leap of faith, but it's like a no. I know it now. I'm ready
right.
to meet God as a matter of fact, right? And so, yeah, it's
Like,
hard for
yeah.
me
Like
to like do something in front of God, but I'm not perfect, and so I have thought that way.
for a very, very long time, I was very lukewarm. And
Yeah, me too. Me too.
just like, okay, I read my Bible, I go to church, blah, blah, but
Yeah, I didn't
then
even do that. I didn't even crack my Bible. I mean, I knew a couple things in
I
there,
I
but
kind of I kind of rarely did. Now I'm like into my Bible every day. I'm like, okay,
I,
I
I
want to
love it.
know what's up. And I don't know how this happened, honestly. I think it started with Trump to be for real. I think it started with Trump because everyone was like so up in arms about this dude. And I was like, what is it with this guy? Like, I don't get it. He's ugly to me. He's fat and ugly. What,
Oh my
and so I
God.
started
Yeah.
I started looking into it and I was like, okay, cool. I like what he says. I like what he says. And then somehow I stumbled on like how he's a Jesuit, and I was like, oh, like I know that Freemasons are not good. So I started
Yeah.
looking into that, and I was like, oh, this dude he's just the same. He's one of them. And then that's when I started getting more into the scripture and like, yo, I want to know what the real truth is. Like, I don't want people like I'll watch your channel, fine, but I don't want someone else to tell me what the truth is. I want to know the truth for myself.
Yeah, that's the only
And
way to
that's just
do it.
kind of, yeah, that's just kind
Yeah.
of how I got into it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not like,
Well,
I'll listen to you and give you a like, but I want to know for myself.
see, and this is why, right? That's a good point, right? And I'll say this, right? There's not one place I could say, hey, go to this one channel. They got all the truth. Everything's perfect what they do. They don't
I don't
gatekeep
even know what
anything.
preterism is, Joel. I don't even
Um,
know what that is.
Preterism
Sorry. Yeah,
is
they were
that
discussing
you
it a little bit. I was like, what is preterism? I never heard of
it,
that.
it means that you think that everything in the Bible has already happened. Like you're like
Okay.
there's no consideration that you don't need it. It's like over, right?
Okay,
And
yeah, but that's not
and
hey,
what
that's not what they were talking about though. So
right, and what Joel's trying to say is it's not preterism. He's just saying he's
right,
further up in the timeline, which is pretty darn close. Though Joel is all I'm saying. It's splitting hairs, right? It's a touchy subject, right? I get it. I
no, it
mean,
is.
I looked at it and like I'll look at whatever videos you guys send me. I hate it when I send somebody something and they don't look at it, especially if I believe
Right.
in it. And so I'll look at whatever, right? And I'll consider it because that's how I got fooled the first time with all this stuff is believing that at school they wouldn't lie to me. And
Right.
so I'm still right. So where I was right at
Excuse me.
my like highest peak of truth, right? After flat Earth and after seeing Michelle's videos about the transpocalypse and all this other stuff, right? Like at my
Mhm.
peak of truth, I believed that we were right before a rapture, right? And so that's where I
Yeah.
still think I am, right? But I like looking at stuff that, hey, look, if that is possible to be on that side, it's something to factor in just in case, something to put in the
Well,
back of your
see,
head in case something clicks.
I believed in the rapture so hard, but I think that's why I spent my whole day yesterday just deep into like looking into
Yeah.
it because once I heard like Joel saying what he was saying, I was like, wait, what am I deceived here? Like, and
Yeah. I
man,
mean,
I went so far deep into it. I had to like therapeutically like cleanse myself. Oh, but you know what? It seems like he's right.
it's
I hate
intriguing.
saying
I'll put
that
it that
because
way.
I want to believe in
Well,
a raptor, but I don't
right.
know. I don't know. I
So
don't know anymore.
so so this is what I'll say, Faith, right? Is that with stuff in the world that's weird, yeah, it seems like it's right, right? But
Yeah.
there's a lot of scripture that you need to reconcile. Like one, the sun is still in the sky. Because when Jesus rules for 1,000 years, he's going to be the sun. There's not going to be no sun. So unless the sun went back up in the sky, right? Because there's no way for us to know that. There's no scripture about that, right? And then Mount Olives needs to split in two, right? Like when Jesus comes down and touches down, that mountain is going to split, you know. And so that's a physical thing that would happen, right? So unless, right, and see, it does say the devil would deceive, the nations, right? So unless they figured out a way to like use a different area of land to say this is, you know, Israel, right? And then it's really somewhere else, right? Okay, yeah, I factor that in as a possibility, but it's not likely that it's true in my mind, right? But I always
Mm.
say look at it, because just the worldly stuff makes it okay. So the stuff about the stuff melting and burning up, how much damage was really to the Roman Empire,
Yeah.
and all this like, I mean, there's just a lot of unreconciled things on this earth, right? So it opens the door to something that big is being hidden. Either they had technology prior to 1900, right? Like it's always been like this, and like they somehow reset it, or there was technology before the flood, or maybe it hasn't been that long since the flood. Like how do we know, right?
Yeah.
There's so
Oh,
much we don't know. So yes, I would say put it in the back of your head and consider it, and look into it if you want, if you enjoy it. But try to keep one foot on the ground and really talk to a lot of people about it though, and get different opinions. And I'm
yeah.
sure Joel would say the same thing. Not to
Yeah. That's,
discourage you. I mean, look at
no.
it if you
Yeah. I
want,
know.
because I'm still watching it too. So
Yeah. It's very interesting to me.
it is. I want to know more about like how like I want to know more about this missing 1,000 years, this dark ages,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where there's no history, right? And I know that unless you want to speculate that there was like fallen angels came, like say they were released in 1900 and that's why the technology like
Oh,
blew up
Joel's
like it
trying to
did.
come up.
Oh yeah, let me let him. Oh, what's he gonna do? Okay, don't. Hey, it's a show, man. You got to be nice. Oh, he's not on. He's not
We're in
back
for
there.
it. We're in for
It's
it.
a it's a show. Be soft, you know. Be soft. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, this is what makes me happy, right? This is what gives me like hope, right? Is that there are a lot of people in the Bible, right? Um,
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of people in this chat, right, that know the Bible really well, you know, and I lean on that, right? I lean on that because, yeah, there are people I talk to that have studied longer than me. Where in my head, I know that they're saying something wrong, right? And maybe I have the right answer. I'm not sure, right? But like, you know, so I can't say there's a way to determine who knows more, right? I don't know, right? But I know that the people in the chat know more than I do, right? And so I lean on that, right? So my number one recommendation, right, for any new Christian or any like even long-term Christian, right, is get a group of people, right? This is why the church was so important, is get a group of people. You don't have to agree on everything, but just people that you can go to. Because if you ask 10 Christians, right, what they think of something, right, you're gonna like be steered like to the least amount of deception, I think, and
Mhm.
and if you just go by what it says in Proverbs about, getting wise counsel and sharpening each other up when you do know a truth, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right? Because as we find these things out, I'm sure flat Earth, right, caused way more waves than this, right? And
Oh,
so maybe this is just
Joel
another
needs a
flat
new
Earth.
link. Joel needs a new link, Steve. It won't let him in.
Okay, let me see. We only got 10 more minutes, Joel. So we're
Sorry for cutting you off.
we only got 10 more minutes, but I will let you make a point and round out because I think that you deserve to be able to talk about this. And I'd like to have Level Up one time up here so she can talk
Hey,
about stuff,
level up.
but not not like any kind of, maybe one at a time. I'll let you guys up or something, and then people can state their whole case.
I
Because
should stop coming on. I'm taking up everyone's talking space.
well, no, but it's well. See, here's the thing, right? A lot of people would be great to come up, right? But a lot of people don't want to do it, and so
Why?
like just
Why?
so yeah, right, right. So just wanting to do it, right? It's good, and so don't feel like that. I enjoy having you up here, and we learn as we go, right?
Thank
You
you. I
know,
appreciate it.
yeah. Not we're all at different spots, right? And there was a time where I was, right. Oh, my son just sent me a text message that said, "I
Oh,
love you, Dad."
aw.
He's my boy's 21 years old, and he says, "I love you, Dad." That's beautiful.
He's a man now.
Well, like it's weird, right? Because
Is that crazy for you? Jeez, my daughter's
he's
15, and that's crazy to me.
well, he's bigger than me, right? By a lot, right? But he's still my baby,
My
Like
son is almost taller than my husband. I'm like, yo, what is happening? He has a deep voice and everything. I'm like, oh my God. Like
Yeah,
one day I'm walking through the house and I hear this manly voice, and I was like, what? My husband's at home. Who is that? And I go in my son's room, like I knock, of course. And I'm like,
yeah.
was that you? And then he starts talking to me. I was like, oh my God, where did that deep voice come from? It's so
It's crazy,
crazy.
huh?
That's
It
my
is.
baby.
I know, and he'll always be your baby. Like no
Oh,
matter how old they get or how big they get,
oh,
I still see my little boy. You
yeah.
know what I mean? And I remember one time, like when I got out of the military, that was like probably the toughest time of my life, right? And I was going through a divorce with his mom, and
Maybe, maybe
I
Joel
was
just
sitting,
go live, and I'll hook up on there with you, on your channel, because
yeah,
I don't think Steve has much more time here.
I mean,
If you
I
want,
would let him on if he was up here, but he's not on my thing.
it's not letting
Yeah,
him for some reason. That's weird.
it's okay. I'm gonna round out in like 5 minutes, and then maybe, but we'll schedule a time you can come on, though, Joel, for sure. Like I like having you on too. I like
Oh,
having
he got a
Sasquatch on
strike.
too.
He got a strike,
Who?
God.
He got a strike for what? Oh, okay, never mind. That's
What
gonna
it
be a long
says. It
story.
says you got a strike.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't.
but
I can't go
um,
lie either.
yeah, but
It won't
anyway,
let me.
I was sitting
Sorry.
on the porch. I was sitting on the porch, right, going through this hard time, right, with his mother. He was like 3 years old, right, and
Mm-hmm.
his little hand, he was rubbing my back, right. I
Oh,
didn't tell him anything, and I didn't say nothing, right. We
they
didn't
feel.
tell the kids anything, right. We were pretty civil about it, right. But
Mm.
he was like, "Daddy, it's gonna be okay,"
Oh.
And
Oh.
like I believed him, I was like, man, it is gonna be okay. And yeah, it's memories like that, right? Where even in hard times, right? Where just their little hands, will get
Like
you
my
through it,
kids, always. Anytime I was just, I don't know, in a mood, anytime they'd just come up and randomly hug me and
Mhm.
say nothing, and I'd be like, "Yo, that's all I needed." Like, how do they
It's
know that? Like,
it's magic,
intuition.
isn't it?
It's intuition, I think. They're just so like they know. They know when Mama's not feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's amazing is this, right? Like before I got close to God, right? This, many years before I got close to God. And I really thought I knew what love was, right? But I got married young. I was like 20, she was 19, right? We did stay married 7 years, right? We gave
Hmm.
it a go, right? But when he was born, right, my oldest son, that day I learned everything I knew about love in that one day. Like I
Yeah.
would die for that kid. Like no, like without thinking about it, I would die for him.
Yeah.
And this is what's crazy, right? Is that I love my kids both the same, exactly the same. Like it really is like there's no difference, right? But
Yeah.
the first one has that magic. Like if he gives me just the slightest bit of affection, just because he was the first, he I guess your firstborn always has that special place in your heart, for that type of moment, because you're like, wow, this kid taught me everything I know about
I
love.
mean, yeah, you can say, I guess you can say I love my children all the same, but it's not. It's different. It's still love. Of
Yeah,
course,
it's
I would
all
die
it
for,
it
yeah, I
it's
would die
equal
for
but
each of
different.
them, but it's equally different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like my daughter, I have different memories with her. My first son, I have different memories with him. My youngest, I have different memories with him. I would die for each and every one of them, but it's a little different. Like
yeah,
I can't explain it, I guess.
yeah.
All right, I know you got
All right,
around it, don't you?
I'm gonna go ahead and round out. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it, Faith.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Steve. It was very
And
interesting talking.
yeah, and then I'd
I
like
was
to have
enjoying
Joel.
it.
I'd like to have Joel join me at some point, either one of these days soon. And then I did want to have Sasquatch up again too. So I do have to figure out some scheduling. Some people said that having the show later would be better for them. So I'm trying to think about that because some people say earlier is better. So I'm debating whether or not to have two shows, but I
Right.
would definitely need help at that point because I'm like almost overwhelmed if I'm going to answer every message personally, which is what I want to do, right? So like I don't want to get to a point where I want it to be bigger, but I want to be personal with everybody.
Well, I'll
And
help you if
so,
I can. I don't know what I can help you with, but I will if I can.
well, this is what would be ideal, right? I need three people, right, that would um, volunteer to uh, be recurring in a permanent way, like
Right, like
you know, a,
faithfully here.
right, like a couple days a week or whatever, and you don't have to. Anybody can say no at any time, and that's no problem. Look, I've been on the spot before, and sometimes those are my best shows. That
Sure.
people could quit right before the show, and don't feel bad and not show up or whatever. Either way, so I just need someone to a couple people to volunteer a couple times a week or whatever, and that would be pretty cool to get a little mix. But what I really wanted to do was to get people on to talk about their testimony, and
Yeah.
maybe do an interview style.
Yeah,
And
that'd be so cool.
yeah, I think so. But even to have two people up here to do an interview, because me and Tom used to do interviews, and it was like pretty bomb, man. It was pretty good. And so I think that that could be recreated.
One of
So
your
anyway,
one of your I think one of your very first shows came up in my feed, and I was like, "Hey, wait, is this Tom?" Because I've never heard
hmm
Tom. Yeah, and I was
yeah,
like, "That's so cool."
he's kind of from your area. He has like the same kind of voice as you. Like, so he's from Wisconsin. Is that close?
Yeah, I am from Wisconsin. Yes,
That's where he's from. Yeah. And
I'm in
so yeah,
Iowa, but I am from Wisconsin.
he's like,
Born and
yeah,
raised.
I can't talk like him, but but
Oh,
he's funny. Anyway,
yeah, it was funny.
so yeah.
Like
Anyway, so
Monday, Thursday, and Friday, I would be able to be like faithfully on here for sure.
okay, okay, yeah. I like for that. I would like for us to talk offline, to kind of work out some things, but it's all small stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Email me. You know my email address.
Yes, and I think you have mine, but yeah, I'll email you.
Okay. And
All right. Thank
so I'll
you,
just
Steve,
say,
for having me on. Love you guys.
God bless you, everybody. I love you guys too, and praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to him. This is what it's all about. We're only here for Jesus. This is his world, right? And I think that that needs to be first and foremost, that if I want to be loved for anything, it's because of my love for him. I'm insignificant in every way. And so I'm just happy to be at this point in my life awake enough to accept Jesus, because it's a gift. And so I'm just grateful for that. And so I'm grateful for you guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 o'clock.